Greetings ladies and gentlemen, Adrian here. Welcome back to the channel and to another World of Warcraft vlog. Now if you're watching this on Sunday, then you'll know that there is no leveling stream for World of Warcraft tonight. Unfortunately, I had something to do. I am out of the house due to family aggro and I had to push the leveling stream to sometime next week, midweek, or on Christmas date. That's unclear yet. But don't worry, I've already scheduled this vlog to come out on Sunday night, so there's going to be something for you guys that are interested in seeing me level in WoW to watch. So this vlog is going to come out on time, I hope. And I've recorded this on Saturday, and I've done a bunch of things in World of Warcraft over the past week, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. So let's get straight into it. Picking up from the last stream, I believe I was in the late 40s, early 50s. Gosh, I don't remember. It seems time has passed so much because I've done a lot this week, not just in WoW but in other games as well that I cover for work. Anyway, what zones I've completed, I think I was in the Badlands the last time. That's when the last vlog stopped, and I got a lot of comments saying, oh, you should have turned in the last quest, oh, you should have finished the quest chain there and see what the ending was. I have seen it. It's awesome, it's brilliant. Thank you guys for bringing all that stuff up. And just a quick note, whatever you watch on the streams and in the vlogs, and if you think I've missed something or you think there's something else I should check out in that particular zone or map, hey, just leave a comment. I do read everything and I do go back and see exactly what you guys are talking about, because that helps me, that enriches my Warcraft experience. So I do appreciate all that feedback. So thank you very much for those of you that watch stuff and leave comments. I do appreciate that. So after the Badlands, I believe I went to the Burning Steppes, and Burning Steppes, that was I enjoyed that zone quite a bit, because really early on in this my warriors leveling, I think one of the zones was Red Ridge Mountains or something. And that zone story was all about, oh, these Blackrock orcs are invading. They're gonna invade, and once they take Red Ridge, then they have free access into Stormwind, and it's gonna be an all-out orc versus humans war again. So to stop that, I had to go and get this old-time veteran of the war, John J. Keishan. I hope I'm getting his name right, but I had to get this one NPC back into the fight. And I had to go free his buddies and all this stuff. So at the end of that Red Ridge Mountains quest chain, him, John, and his entire super commando group kind of just died. And I thought John died. He didn't. He's back in the Burning Steppes, and that was awesome to see. When I saw him there, I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So I do like that story continuity that Warcraft has going on sometimes between zones. I don't know if this happens a lot for the other faction over there in Kalimdor or whatever. So I really enjoyed that little, throwback, because it's still fresh in my mind, and I know who he is, and I know the fun things and the crazy things that his quests will usually involve. Lots of orc rage and killing and using fun gadgets and stuff. So Burning Steppes was pretty fun. Some of the quest design there, I mean, it flowed pretty well for me. I really enjoyed the pacing there. And what sticks out was this one, a lot of the two quest chains will involve you having to go undercover, right? And I thought, okay, it's probably going to be like a simple disguise, like maybe just put on a robe or just do something orky. It turned out to be just a cardboard mask of an orc face, and I swear to God, I just laughed out so loud at that, because it's so corny, it's so cheesy. And you know what, that sort of attitude, that sort of vibe I'm getting from World of Warcraft, it's not just this one quest that gives me that vibe. A lot of the quests in Warcraft have that self-deprecating vibe, and it kind of doesn't take itself seriously, but at the same time there are other parts where it's serious, because there's real weight behind the lore that some of these quests are trying to tell you and everything, because it's building on to games like Warcraft 3 and stuff like that. So that contrast and that vibe really is enjoyable for me. And thinking about it now, I've played the newer MMO stuff that are inspired by that vibe that WoW rubs off or gives off. Games like Wildstar, for example, I can totally see where they get the inspiration from. So that's pretty cool. And of course, the big finale in the Burning Steppes was, calling in the airstrike, hint airstrike. That was pretty fun. I guess that's my first taste of what flying would be like in World of Warcraft. And it was pretty cool. You get to control a big dragon and just drop bombs and everything. That's pretty neat. I mean, if I'm looking back, I'm going through all the MMOs I've played. because when you do like a really fun quest, the first thing I would do is I try and find a similar quest in another MMO that, you know, something similar to compare and contrast to, and I'm just trying to pull out of memory. There's nothing like that. It's some of these quest mechanics, you know, it's like a mini game within the game, which I find kind of refreshing, because a lot of the MMOs I play don't usually have that. It's pretty much bread and butter, straightforward. Do this, complete that. That is just moving the plot along. Unlike Warcraft, where a lot of the, you know, they give you tiny mechanics, simple mechanics to do within the quest itself that makes it more than interesting for me. So after the Burning Steps, I went on to the Swamp of Sorrows, I believe it was, and I was almost level 55-ish, I think. Or something like that. I don't recall too much of the Swamp of Sorrows. I know I just went there. I did like a couple of quests, and then I decided, you know what, within my level range, I think it's best for me to just go on to the Blasted Lands, which was the final vanilla map that I was doing this week. So Swamp of Sorrows, again, it wasn't that memorable for me, and I was only there for a couple of quests. I don't recall finishing any quest chains there, which is what I wanted to bring up. You know, for this last two zones, I noticed that now, with how I understand like the flow of Warcraft now in terms of the questing, and you if you want to, you can pick and choose from a few different quests, and then you can move on to the next zone if you don't want to over level things. And again, I know 735 is going to change a lot of this. Let's just drop that for now. So yeah, I just did a couple of quests, get some levels, and then I moved on to the Blasted Lands. Blasted Lands, I had some fun here, because from what I remember, the theme of the quest and everything, it's a real throwback to Orcs and Humans Warcraft. That's apparently the historical battle side when the Orcs first arrive, and you know, the battle between humans and everything, and it's still going on there. And then there's the Dark Portal in the Blasted Lands, which I thought, oh, that's pretty awesome to see. So just did a bunch of questing there, and then I hit level 56, and I've started the Burning Crusade expansion. I don't think it was exactly level 56. I think I just quested a little bit more until level 58, and then shoop, went back to Stormwind, picked up my mail and whatever, up to Mage's Tower, and boom, straight to Outlands. I really think it's really kind of interesting that, you know, World of Warcraft, unlike all the newer MMOs, you know, you don't have that instant traveling here. I'm gonna say I am spoiled by newer MMOs that makes traveling between zones super non-complicated and really easy, almost lazy, if you will. Just open your map, click on a waypoint, and boom, you're there. Or, you know, just pay some money and instant teleport, boom, you're there. Warcraft, I mean, you can do that through like Hearthstones and everything, but there's a cooldown. There's no instant Griffin flight thing. You have to sit through the whole way and watch the journey. And then if you want to go through different continents, whatever, you got to use the portals, which is like the fastest travel mechanic. And then there's like ships and, you know, stuff like that. Rockets, again, rockets, you have to sit through the entire flight. So that's kind of old school, but you know, things that you can't change, I suppose. Alright, so let's talk about the Burning Crusade. I am in Outland, and I'm still stuck in the Hellfire Peninsula, just doing some preliminary quest chains there. I've completed a few. I think I'm at like the middle. There's this base camp here where a couple of different people will pop up giving you quest chains. There's one that takes me to this gnome folks up the top, and then there's like you can do like this bombing run of all the, you know, Hellfire demons, and there's another NPC that takes you to go and do the you know, missions or quests against the orcs in the south or whatever. So I'm just completing those, and you know what, it's been pretty fun so far, because I'm starting to notice that, you know, the zone narrative here, as I've already mentioned, you know, they explore more about what's happening on this planet, and there's demons here, Legion type demons, and there's like Hellfire orcs and everything. It reminds me of stuff that's in the novels and in the RTS games, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's potential here for some lore that I maybe recognize or maybe know from all those years of reading those Warcraft novels. So that's my drive to keep going forward. I can't remember who it was, but someone said that I may not enjoy the questing in the Burning Crusade. So far, I haven't come across anything yet that has, you know, given me reason to feel a little annoyed or you know, boring or anything. I'm just having fun. Again, some of those mechanics that Warcraft has, like when there's this one quest gnome, as I said, you know, the bombing round at the top, that was really fun. So I'm looking forward to see what else is new. I'm very well aware that this is the first expansion for World of Warcraft, so I guess there's a potential to see like the quality of life for questing and map designs and everything increase gradually as I move from expansion to expansion. So that's also something I'm keeping in mind as I go along. And so far it's been decent. And I know some people have said that based on my second vlog, you know, about my thoughts on Stranglethorn and that question and why I didn't like it. And if I was going to see something similar here, there's a very big difference between that quest and what I consider to be fun in Outland. I'll just explain that a little bit. You know, in Stranglethorn, that Hunter's quest chain, the substance of the quest didn't do anything for me, because these are a bunch of hunters. I get that, and you know, they dig people who are going to prove themselves as excellent hunters to consider them one of their own or whatever. So you have to go and kill all these animals and stuff. If you like hunting and if you want to be the badass or whatever, great. And I'm talking from a narrative story point of view. Here in the Outlands, if there is to be that sort of quest, it's a little different, because the substance is going to be different. I know there's, you know, if it's got to do with like demons and orcs, and these things are the meat and potatoes of Warcraft. You know, based on the past novels, games, whatever, that's the real enemy. That's the enemy. That's what you're up against. The stakes are higher because it involves your race, your alliance, your faction. The entire story is driven by that narrative. So when you do have killing quest chains like that involving the game's main enemies, you know, that pushes the story further along, it's very different compared to doing it for a bunch of nobodies out there in the jungle that just wants to kill animals. So when you put that side by side, and I hope I'm making sense here, you obviously would be okay doing the latter. In the event that that sort of quest chain shows up in the Outland, it has not yet, which is kind of why I'm really enjoying my time in Outland so far, and just looking forward to see what else the expansion shows off. And speaking of that, there's Outland, especially in the Hellfire Peninsula, it has this mechanic where there's like fortresses. It's like 3 different towers or whatever that swaps between Alliance and Horde. And at the very beginning, you know, because my guild, the guild that I'm in, doesn't really talk a lot, and when I ask questions, nobody seems to want to answer me, so I'm like, okay, cool. But I got a few friends, like Digimeister, for example, who's on there, and I can ask questions and whatever. So I found out that that is actually a PvP little content there, where you got to turn on your PvP flag, and, you know, go take the towers from each other, and, yeah, kill each other. And I did that. I think we did it. I turned it on. I flagged on for PvP. Got there, and I remember another Alliance player was like, "Be careful! There's just a level 110 Horde player running around." I'm like, "Oh, that's it." So, you know, there's even in like this is the first expansion. This is like a level 60 zone, but you will find, you know, level 110 players, level cap players coming back to try and show off their dominance or whatever for quick easy wins, or I don't know. But you know, there is that PvP aspect here to be aware of, and it's pretty fun. I think it's cool. I mean, I just got there, got killed, and didn't want to do it again because I'm only like I'm 60 now, so yeah, I still, all that, you know, map PvP stuff I'm gonna save until I'm actually at level cap, so they'll give me a fair shot. So that's it for map questing on this week's World of Warcraft. Just finishing up the balanced few vanilla maps before heading to the Burning Crusade, the Outland, and I'm still only in the Hellfire Peninsula, but hopefully next week I'll complete this expansion and move on to the next. Now that's not all I've done in the past week. I've done a lot of dungeons this week, and the reason for me jumping in is I was trying to gauge, especially for my server, what the queue times were gonna be like, and what's the loot gonna be, you know, and I was also looking for a cool weapon so I can, you know, transmog later on, vanity stuff. But more than anything, I just wanted to see what that level appropriate dungeon was gonna be, and like for example the Burning Steps, I wanted to see what the conclusion was when you were doing the dungeon for that level. And even when I got to the Burning Crusade, I also did the level appropriate dungeon. I can't remember what it was called, something about, it's a North something, I can't remember what the name was. There's too many dungeons in WoW with different names. Now about dungeons, like the one thing that's disappointing for me so far are queue times. I mean, I'm only on one server, and I know there's so many other servers out there for WoW. I'm on the Oceanic server of Saurfang, and the queue times for me are like 30 minutes to find a dungeon. And I'm trying to figure out why that's the case. Is it because it's a low, you know, it's not a level cap dungeon, or that simply means there's not a lot of people in my level range? Or is it just a time thing? But that really can't be the case, because I'm on an Oceanic server, so if I queue at like 7 p.m, that's like 10 or 9 p.m. Australian time, which is kind of prime time for us. So waiting in queue for 30 minutes is, it's a little weird. But again, I don't know if that's a server-specific thing, or is it because all the action's happening in level cap, so we'll see. And maybe 735, when that scaling thing happens, maybe a lot of people will be running more dungeons, I don't know. But that's just queues. In terms of the dungeons themselves, some of them pretty fun, fun mechanics and everything. Not much to say there, I suppose. I'm just looking forward to seeing what the current endgame dungeons are looking like, and hopefully I get there soon. On a final note, I am level 60. Isn't that like the original vanilla level cap? Was it 60 or 50? I think it's 60, but yes, I've hit it. I'm level 60, and I've got 50 levels to go. I know I'm taking it real slow, but you have to. I'm treating WoW with as much respect as possible at the same, but I'm not, you know, I'm gonna scrutinize this thing fully, and that's why I'm kind of taking my time. I've got 9 days left on my subscription, but I'm totally gonna, you know, just renew that and keep going as long as it takes, just to see as much as I can. So level 60, I still have not gone back to Stormwind. I have not trained for flying and expert riding yet, and I'm really excited to do that. I've saved up gold to buy my first flying mount, and hopefully we'll see that next week, either on a live stream and the vlog. So that's it for this week's vlog. Again, I apologize for not streaming this weekend, but last minute aggro, real life aggro, unfortunately. So stay tuned. Either during the week I'll do like a stream during the week, or it's gonna be on Christmas weekend. So that's might be hard for you guys to watch, but we'll see. So thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed my content. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here for MMO content, and I'll appreciate that. So once again, I'm Adrian, and I thank you guys for watching. Hey, welcome to the end screen. If you've made it this far, it means you've watched the entire video, and I thank you very much for that. If you want to watch more videos, you can click on the cards at the bottom here. Anyone will do. And if you like my content, you can subscribe to the channel by hitting the big round button down here. See you guys at the next video.